This video will show you an example from our notes about how to find a weighted mean. And in this first example, I use finding a GPA because all of you, of course, are familiar with GPAs. And I like to make sure that you do know how they're calculated. So the idea is that when you take courses, they are not all worth the same number of units. So in other words, the courses are weighted based on how many units they are worth. So we're just going to make up a little example here, and I'm going to start with the fact that since you're watching this video, you are obviously taking statistics, and you'll see that our class is 4 units. So at the end of the semester, once you get your grade, you will see that each letter grade earns you a certain amount of points. So let's say that you get an A in statistics, and we convert that to 4 grade points. Now, it is worth 4 points, but the idea is X, that's your grade, but we weight the course based on the number of units. So when we multiply the points times the weight, you're actually accruing 4 times 4. You're actually accruing 16 grade points. So let's go on. I'm going to add, maybe you're taking a psychology class. I don't think psychology is usually worth 5 points, but we're going to go with it. It's a 5-unit psychology class. And let's say you end up with a B there. So a B earns you 3 grade points, but the weight is 5. So your total number of grade points is 15. All right, let's go on. Say you're taking a history class worth 3 units. I'm going to go with a C here. C's are worth 2. And 2 times 3 is going to earn you 6 grade points. And then finally, a 1-unit class. I'm going to just call it a lab that you may be taking. And just because I want to round this out, let's say that you do fail your lab class. So failing earns you no grade points. And of course, 0 times 1 is still 0. So the hand calculation for the weighted mean, so our GPA, we always add each of the individual X times W values, and we divide that by the sum of the weights. So you'll notice in your table that when you add all of the units together, you'll see that you are adding the weights, that the student is taking 13 units. So the idea is all of the grade points you've earned get spread out evenly among the 13 units. So when we add each of the XW values, of which there are 4, I'm even going to turn my calculator on here and take 16 plus 15 plus 6 plus 0, of course. So it's looking like you've got a total of 37 grade points. So if we take those 37 grade points, distribute them evenly among the 13 units. So we have 37 divided by 13. And we end up with a 2.8, and we're going to do 2 decimal places, so 2.8. The second decimal is a 4, but next to it is a 6, so the 4 rounds up to a 5, and we now know the student's GPA. So that's the by hand calculation. If you would like to do this on your calculator, that is possible as well. So what we'll do is generally I like to put our data into list 1, and I'll put our weights into list 2. So the command on our calculator, it's called 1-bar stats. And because we have data and its weight, we need to tell the calculator where we put our data, and then we'll do a comma to tell it where we put our weight. So on our calculators, you can take a look and go to your stat button, so stat, and then enter for edit. I'm going to clear out these lists, so I'm going to arrow up, and you'll see L2 is darkened. Hit the clear button, and at the bottom it says L2 is blank. That's what I'd like, so hit enter. And then we'll do the same thing with L1. So we highlight it, hit clear, and enter. Okay, so our grades. So we've got 4 for the A, 3 for the B, 2 for the C, and we do have to enter that 0 for the F. And bring yourself over to your L2, which are your weights. So 4, 5, 3, and 1. All right, we're ready for 1-bar stats. So you're going to go to your stat button again, so hit stat. And this time use your right arrow to tab over to calculate. The first entry there is 1-bar stats, so hit enter. And now we need an open parenthesis. Look above the 8 is your open parenthesis button. And look at the 1 on your keypad. Above the 1, you'll see in a different color L1. So you'll hit your second button to activate that color, and you'll see L1 appear. Look above the 7 button, and you'll see the comma button, so comma. And then again, the keypad number 2 has L2 above it. So we'll hit second, and then the 2 will give us our L2. We'll close parentheses, hit enter, and hopefully we get the same answer as our by hand calculation. And you'll see that at the top. So it does use the symbol X bar. In this situation, I just call it GPA since it is specifically what we're talking about. So using this method, we still arrive at a GPA of a 2.85. And I am okay with either method that you would like to use. So by hand method or calculator method, we are good to go.